A pack in the north has adapted its routine to coincide precisely with a woman's arrival each morning. She walks along a path worn by years of repetition. Moving slowly and deliberately, her gaze remains fixed ahead as she steps forward, counting every footfall like an obligation. At 20 pace, she reaches the old oak where stones once rained down upon her. At Petit Tri, she passes the corner where voices rise in sharp reproach. By Vot, she stands before iron gates that remain closed. A wave of hostility follows. Low growls and harsh words, each triggered at the same moment. How dare she return? Yo, back to where you belong, traitor. An object flies past her head, likely debris. Those stones have replaced trash in recent days. She does not react. The hatred is routine now, predictable. It feels like a familiar burden. The path leads up a slope, through land once shaped by her family's actions. Every step stirs murmurs that trail behind her like echoes. Look at her crawling back again. After what she helped cause, how can she show her face? She clutches the bag at her side, its weight steady grounding. This is why she persists. Someone needs care, whether he wants it or not. The manor looms ahead, silent and sealed. Windows are shuttered tight, barriers against light and observation. The Alpha has not been seen in months. Rumors suggest an event during a recent invasion left him confined within the darkened walls. For 2 weeks she has come, met with refusal each time. Yet she returns. Her sense of duty prevents departure, her remorse compels effort. The gatekeeper reacts as soon as she appears. No words are needed. The beta arrives shortly after, expression unyielding. Alpha Theo will not see you today, Lady Winters. She nods and turns back down the hill. Above, the manor's windows remain dark, silent observers of her retreat. Behind her, a young wolf asks his mother, "Why does she keep coming?" "Because she must," she replies. After what they did, Bianca maintains an even pace as she descends. She lets them watch, lets them hate. She will return tomorrow, and the next day after that. Penance is not meant to be easy. At the manor, Theo stands by a window, motionless. Page delivers his daily report, increased rogue activity near the eastern border. The Alpha does not turn. A growl builds beneath his skin, restrained but present. The beast wants release, to run, to hunt, to destroy. But that is no longer possible. The treasury shows progress, Page adds, voice tight with caution. Yet I don't see movement forward if you remain isolated here. What's your point? Theo replies, voice rough, unfamiliar even to himself. The winter healer came again this morning, the beta says quietly. A snarl erupts from Theo, sharp and sudden. The name alone sends cold through his body, followed by rage. The Winter's pack. That group that attacked without warning, using nightshade with surgical precision. They brought ruin upon his people. Now they send their healer to request entry, again. She's come twice a week for 2 weeks, Page continues carefully. Our medical team is overwhelmed, and her reputation speaks for itself. Theo lets out a dry laugh. And what about the Winter's loyalty before they turned against us? He remembers the invasion, the screams, the burning in his blood as poison spread. That same toxin now binds him to darkness, forcing him into isolation while maintaining appearances. Silas is dead, Page notes gently. Yes, I've been told. But does that change anything? The harm has already been done. Theo recalls a boy, Silas, from another pack. A spoiled youth who relied on charm and manipulation. Yet he rose to power and used it to betray the strongest group in the region. His jealousy of Theo's natural authority fueled an act of destruction. He had no right. But somehow he found a way. The Winters claim the Alpha was under a spell, Page says. Other packs report similar incidents. Do you accept that? Theo asks. A pause. I believe we need assistance, comes the reply. The pack endures while you and I protect them, he warns, voice low and controlled. Would you prefer I let our enemies see how exposed we are? Invite them to complete what they began? Silence settles, thick and unbroken. But if this healer could restore you, Page suggests. If she could return your, leave me, Theo snaps, a breath escaping him. Footsteps retreat. The door shuts with finality. Theo remains in the dark. His wolf howls against its restraint, demanding release, vengeance. But vengeance demands power he no longer has. All that remains is solitude, pride, and enough rage to sustain him. Let the Winter's healer come. She may waste her effort at his door. He would sooner rot than trust their kind again. At 20, Bianca believed she had known love. She recalls golden hair catching sunlight, blue eyes that made her tremble, a smile that radiated warmth. They met in secluded parts of her father's estate, brief touches turning into kisses that felt eternal. His name was Silas. The entire pack loved him. They had no choice. A corrupt magic had enslaved them, all devotion, loyalty, obedience, warfare fueled by his will. Now the enchantment is broken. Silas is dead. In freedom, Bianca sees what he truly was, a manipulator who left ruin in his wake. She knows her pack must answer for its actions. But at night, dreams blur like wet paint. She sees him, feels the love she believed she had, until waking chokes her. For an instant, she cannot distinguish truth from illusion. Were those feelings real? Had she not enjoyed his touch? Her heart raced. Her wolf had purred. Each morning she studies her reflection, searching for where Silas's control ended and her own fault began. There are no answers, only guilt and a drive to repair what was broken. When her father said the pack must act in the north, Bianca volunteered. Our Alpha doesn't respond to calls, Jensen said 2 weeks ago. He might be dead, or planning our destruction. What do you expect? Kate retorted. After what we did to them under Silas's influence. Rumors say Theo Blackthorn hasn't been seen for months. Perhaps injured from the attack. I'll go, Bianca said before she could stop herself. I'm a healer. I can help. No, Kate snapped. You need time to recover. But her father looked hopeful. Ryder, Kate saw through her fear. Sometimes healing means leaving old shadows behind. 2 weeks later, Bianca stands before the mansion. It looms under overcast skies. Windows sealed like blind eyes. Is the Alpha inside? Whispers say he plots revenge. Others claim he is dead and his beta sustains the illusion to deter rivals. The rumors conflict, crippled, scheming, broken by grief. The only certainty, no one has seen Theo emerge in months. At dawn's edge, Bianca sometimes sees a figure pacing the highest tower, likely imagination conjuring ghosts from memory. Only the house holds the truth, behind curtains and locked doors, as silent and unknowable as its master. The motel phone rings just after dark, the shrill tone cutting through her thoughts. Only one person would call now. How is it going? Kate's voice carries tension. Bianca recalls stones thrown past her head. Growls, threats whispered in shadow. Fine, she says brightly. Everyone's welcoming. Kate, there's a warning in the pause. Really, I'm fine. I deserve this. Bianca thinks, I'm not weak, I can endure it. And Alpha Theo, have you seen him? No. He won't see me. But it's not just me, no one sees anyone. A line of pack members waits outside the estate, seeking access or information. The beta manages all requests. Kate lowers her voice. You don't believe Silas is truly dead. He used nightshade on our warriors. Bianca stiffens at the name. I can't believe we ever agreed to it. That father still makes it. It's cruel. It strengthens our pack, Kate says calmly. That's what drew Silas in. The words come out before she stops them. Silence follows, thick and unspoken, until Kate murmurs goodnight. Hours later, Bianca lies awake, thoughts circling like predators. What became of the Alpha? Why does he refuse meetings? Is he wounded or planning retaliation? A hand brushes her spine, familiar but unwelcome. Such heavy thoughts for someone so fragile. Bianca shuts her eyes tight. Shut up. But you know I'm right, Silas's voice purrs with false warmth. You're not like Kate. You've always been the weakest. Shut up. Oh, but you loved me, didn't you, Bianca? His ladder coils around her like poison. Did you truly love me? She sits bolt upright, heart pounding. The room is empty, Silas died. Yet his presence lingers in memory, in doubt, in every shadow that unsettles her. Sleep eludes her as his voice repeats in her mind and questions remain unresolved. Tears sting, followed by anger at herself. Kate suffered for years with the truth while Bianca lived unaware, shielded by illusion. If Kate were here, she wouldn't hide, she'd act. Bianca dresses quickly and steps into the night. The manor rises against a starlit sky, more fortress than home. No crowds gather now, only stillness and shadows. She moves through trees behind the estate, tracking guard patterns. There, a window left open, as if the house breathes. When the guard turns, she climbs the wall. Cursing her recklessness, she wants to beg this Alpha for permission to heal him, or at least try, if he's truly injured. The house feels hollow and unfamiliar in darkness. She follows intuition, where Paige always looks when asked about the Alpha. The top room of the tallest tower. A place from stories gone wrong, the door creaks open into blackness. Then a sharp wave of male scent hits her. dominant, unyielding. Reality crashes down. She's inside a rival Alpha's private space at night while he sleeps. If he doesn't kill her immediately, it will be astonishing. "Who's there?" The voice cuts through the dark, deep, commanding, dangerous. Moonlight slants in, revealing a tall figure seated by the window. Even in dim light, his presence fills the room like an approaching storm. Broad shoulders, strong jawline, power radiating from him. He rises with slow precision, advancing. His fingers twitch as if testing air. Bianca is too stunned to notice why. "Who are you?" he demands, towering over her now. She wants to trace every line on his face, like she's known them for years. A whimper escapes. "No, this isn't real. It's illusion, enchantment." She meets his eyes. Desperate to break the spell, and freezes. Storm gray eyes stare through her, not at her. His expression remains still, unreadable. He does not recognize her. Does not see her. Because he cannot, she realizes he is blind. His hand reaches toward her face. Bianca experiences a sudden reversal of emotion as she recalls feeling identical excitement when Silas touched her, now knowing the sensation was fabricated. The transformation occurs abruptly, one moment standing upright, the next moving on all fours, fleeing from the intense mix of attraction and revulsion. She hears him inhale sharply behind her but continues running until the pull of their bond diminishes, until his presence fades from her awareness. Until night absorbs her completely. Just a little further, she thinks, enough to brief to think again. A metallic click echoes through the forest. Pain erupts in her front limb as the trap clamps shut. Her cry rings out, high-pitched and urgent. She struggles, each motion increasing the agony. But the mechanism holds fast. No, they'll find her. They'll bring her back to him and that force she cannot trust. Footsteps advance through thick undergrowth, multiple sets closing in. Bianca pulls harder at her injured leg, ignoring the blood soaking into her fur. She must escape, must run. A flashlight beam slices through the dark. Her pulse halts. Theo stands motionless by the window, his wolf pressing against his skin, driven to hunt the intruder. But his senses are impaired, useless for tracking. He knows only 2 wolves belong in this section. Paige, his beta, away on diplomatic duties, and Anne, his housekeeper. Even with weakened perception, he would have recognized Anne's gait or her humming. This was someone else. Someone who entered without detection. His fingers trace the window frame, a habit since the winter attack. Nightshade poisoning had stripped him of sight and sensory acuity, leaving him in total darkness. He once believed it temporary. After the invasion, he concealed his condition while forming alliances against the Winters and their leader, Silas. Months passed. His health worsened. Now he detects little beyond faint vibrations. His world reduced to sound and shape. Paige insists their survival depends on Theo's arranged mating with Olivia, daughter of a former beta. The alliance would stabilize power, but Theo has not seen her since the attack. Would she uphold the bond after learning his condition? Or flee, taking support with her? His wolf growls at the thought, agitated from confinement. It wants to move, to fight, to prove strength. But movement reveals weakness. Fighting exposes vulnerability. So they remain still, man and beast locked in silence. Each day, control slips further. Thoughts become instinctive. Soon he may be no more than the animal inside. Perhaps that is inevitable. Perhaps one day they will have to eliminate him, like any wild predator. If so, he'll spend his remaining time protecting the pack. It is all he has. Anne approaches his door. Her step hesitates, unusual for her rhythm. He could soothe her with a word, but does not. Seeing those who once relied on him only deepens his shame. To his surprise, she speaks first. "Alpha. Something's wrong." "What?" "A wolf is caught in a border trap." "The intruder from my room," Theo says. "Who?" "An Omega female." "I don't recognize her markings. Not one of ours." His mind shifts quickly. An unknown wolf already breached his defenses. If she escapes, reports what she saw. Still trapped. Yes, but she's aggressive. Refuses approach, snaps at anyone near. Theo opens his mouth to call Paige but remembers the ladder is gone. "Damn it. Should I get someone else from the pack? I'll handle this," he says. Anne hesitates. "Alpha." He turns toward the door. The walk outside is painful. Each step risks exposing his condition. Anne directs him with quiet throat-clearing sounds. His pride resents each adjustment. The night air flows over his skin, momentarily expanding perception. His wolf calms under the breeze, carrying faint scents of pine and open space. They're Alpha. He cannot see the trapped animal, nor fully detect her scent beneath earth and decay. But he hears her strained vocalizations, low growls, frantic movements. The distress call of a restrained predator. Theo advances, projecting his dominance like an approaching storm. The sounds escalate, challenge met with counter-challenge. Down. His voice cuts through the noise. She responds with a snarl, metal clinking as she resists. He moves closer, each step measured. Down, he repeats. A soft whine emerges. Only then does he touch her, fur trembling beneath his fingers. His hand locates her neck, applying steady pressure. "That's it," he says calmly now that submission is acknowledged. "You're not going anywhere." Her resistance fades. He tightens his grip for final confirmation, but instead a warm tongue licks at his fingertips. "Stay still," he orders as Anne releases the trap mechanism. She does not resist. She continues licking even as the restraint disengages. His wolf responds to her complete compliance with satisfaction. "Can she walk?" he asks. "The wound is deep," Anne replies. "She'll need support." Without hesitation, Theo lifts her into his arms. She is light, settling against him with ease. Her breath warm along his throat. His wolf purrs, pleased by this rare validation of control. "Let's get her inside," he says, turning toward the house. He follows Anne's steps and hears the steady pulse against his chest. Doubt should arise. Concern for the unknown in his arms should surface. But now, he simply feels warmth from another creature that shows no awareness or concern of his condition. She should fear being held by an alpha. Bianca knows this. She has crossed into forbidden space, breached private territory, and will likely face harsh judgment upon revelation of her identity. Her heart races. Instinct urges escape, but she remains still in his arms. Heat from his body spreads through her. A primal urge pulls her toward him. Even her injured leg feels less painful under his secure hold. "Stop that," she warns herself. They pass through corridor. Theo navigating without error despite being blind. He moves with precision, never hesitating or losing balance. She remains cradled securely throughout. They enter a functional living area, durable furniture, plain surfaces. A large wooden table sits center stage. He lowers her gently onto it. His hands remain for a moment, adjusting her position to avoid pressure on the injured leg. "Who are you?" he asks, voice calm but firm. "What are you doing on my land?" Bianca's ears flatten. She should shift back. Should explain. She sensed nightshade poisoning, symptoms matching those experienced by Kate in the past. That she may be able to help, but each attempt to return to human form fails. Silas's voice intrudes. "Go ahead, Bianca. Change back. Tell him about the bond you're clearly feeling. Enjoy falling for a man who no longer loves you." Panic rises. The alpha watches, impatient despite his blindness. She wants to obey. But then what? What will he say when she reveals herself? "Do not pretend you are just an ordinary wolf," he says, tone flat. "You're not hiding anything." She isn't trying to deceive. She wants to return to human form, but cannot. She focuses on her humanity, reaches for the shift, but the animal refuses. "Change back now," he commands. She whines, shifting until pain flares in her leg. She tries again, desperately summoning her human shape. Silas's voice grows louder. "Unless you still love me, is that it?" She remains in wolf form. Unable to shift back, her body trembles. Anne observes from a distance, noting the tension. The alpha questions whether they should keep her confined. She is not resisting despite the situation. Her injuries are minor. She insists they will heal without treatment. The decision is made to place her in his private quarters rather than a basement cell. The alpha carries her indoors, adjusting his grip as he moves through the hallways. He does not release her until reaching his room. She remains still throughout the transfer, clinging to the sensation of contact with him. Once inside, she focuses on the sounds and rhythm of his breathing. She plans to escape as soon as he falls asleep. The space is quiet and closed. There are no windows, no way out. Her thoughts turn inward, assessing her condition and situation. She has come here to assist, but something went wrong. Her ability to shift back was lost unexpectedly. He sets her down gently, avoiding the injured leg. He does not speak. She remains motionless on the floor. After a moment, he steps away. She watches him move across the room. His presence is dominant but restrained. She listens for signs of fatigue or distraction. Nothing suggests he plans to leave soon. She checks her surroundings. The room has minimal furnishings. A single bed, a chair, a small table. No tools, no weapons. She considers potential exits again. None are viable while he remains awake. Her attention returns to him. He stands by the window, facing away from her. His posture suggests vigilance. She shifts slightly, testing her limbs. Movement is possible but awkward. The pain in her leg persists. She does not attempt transformation. It requires focus and control she cannot achieve under stress. She waits. Time stretches. Her breathing slows. She becomes still again. He does not turn back. Anne stands at the threshold after Theo leaves Bianca inside. Her presence lingers awkwardly in the space. "Is there anything else you require?" she asks. "No, thank you." Theo replies quickly, closing the door behind him. He pauses, one hand still on the knob, as if uncertain how to proceed. "I don't know why I did that," he murmurs, more to himself than her. He crosses the room and sits in a worn armchair, rubbing his face with both hands. Bianca watches, noticeable by how weary he appears now that the task is done. She approaches quietly, wanting to express thanks for his assistance, and perhaps out of guilt tied to the injury. "You'll leave as soon as I sleep," he says softly. Her response comes without hesitation. "I don't need to close my eyes to see you." She shifts uneasily. He adds, barely audible. Bianca can't help but scoff. A low sound escapes her throat, unmistakably a wolf's laugh. Theo sinks deeper into the chair, his posture collapsing further. She moves closer and brushes her head against his arm, a gesture of comfort she can offer in this form. She tries to shift back, but nothing happens. A quiet whine slips out. "You're shaking," he notes. He rises and walks to the fireplace, bending down to search for kindling. His hands fumble over the hearth, knocking logs onto the floor. "Can't even keep people warm anymore," he mutters so low it's nearly lost in the silence. She steps forward and nudges his hand toward the stack of wood. He freezes, then relaxes as she guides him. Together, they arrange the firewood and locate a lighter on the mantel. They work without speaking. The task brings an unspoken understanding between them. Once the flames catch, Theo sits beside her on the floor. No words pass between them, but the quiet feels natural. Bianca grows heavy with sleep as she watches the flicker of light. The crackle of wood and his steady breaths lull her into drowsiness. Her leg no longer aches. When she wakes, the fire has died to embers. Pale morning light filters through the windows. For a moment, confusion sets in. Where is she? Then she sees Theo asleep in the chair and remembers everything. She shifts and realizes she's human again, naked. A sigh of relief escapes her just before he stirs. She freezes. He groans at the slightest movement. When his eyes open, Bianca has already reverted to wolf form. Her heart pounds beneath her fur. "You're still here," he says. "Yes." She knows then she won't be able to change back soon. The sound of running water fills the room as she tries again to shift. Come on. Come on." Her muscles strain. Each time she nears transformation, Silas's voice echoes in her mind. "Are you really going to let magic bind you again?" It runs through her veins. She loses focus. "I never loved you," the voice continues. "And neither will he." It is Silas, his words cutting deep. Yet she agrees. This pull toward Theo, this trust, it feels like another trap. The mating bond wraps around her chest, making it hard to breathe. When Theo exits the bathroom with damp hair, he tilts his head. "Are you hungry?" She barks in response. He snorts. "Anne should be here soon." Does he spend every day waiting for others to bring him food? Bianca observes Theo with increasing unease. He stands motionless, unresponsive to his surroundings. She recalls Anne's careful instructions from the previous day, guiding him through simple tasks. It becomes clear he cannot see. His wolf instincts are diminished. Navigating familiar spaces is difficult for him. The reality of his dependence weighs on her. A quiet sigh escapes as she considers how much effort it must take to rely on others. "I'm hungry," Theo says, misreading the sound. She steps beside him and places his hand on her back. Calm, she thinks, urging movement toward the door. His wolf stirs beneath the surface, restless. Staying indoors only intensifies its tension. Though she cannot restore his sight in this form, she can at least help him move. You want to go outside? He asks. Voice tight, she leads him forward. He hesitates, frustrated. She waits patiently. Fine, he growls. They exit the room. In the hallway, she stays close, allowing him to use her as a reference point with each step. Are you my guard dog now? He teases. She barks twice no. The amusement in his tone is evident. At the kitchen, Anne watches them approach. Her expression shifts from tension to cautious observation. You're stuck, Theo asks Bianca directly. She responds with a single bark. Do you know why? 2 barks, no. Throughout the day, she guides him through the house. He resists when she approaches the front door. I can't risk being seen like this, he murmurs later. And I can't let you escape. That night, Bianca reverts to human form. The idea strikes, she could leave now. Her leg is healed. Kate would be concerned. She steps toward the door, hand reaching for the handle. But then she looks at Theo sleeping tense, his face marked by inner turmoil. His wolf fights its confinement. He needs help. That is why she came. Not because of any bond or emotion he may not reciprocate. This is about responsibility, about making amends with him and his pack. She kneels beside him, touches his temples. A warm energy flows through her fingers, gold, gentle, seeking the fractures where his human self clashes with his wild nature. She will heal him. Days pass in a steady rhythm. By day she remains as a wolf, unable to shift when Theo is awake. Only at night, during his deep sleep, does her human form return. It puzzles her, but gives her rare chances to work. Sarah, he asks one morning. She snorts. Margaret, a soft rejection. Patris. An annoyed girl makes him laugh. Genuine laughter. All right, he says. Brunhilde. His guesses grow absurd, yet his tone is warm. He turns their silence into a game. She nudges his leg in protest. He laughs more. These moments become more frequent. In the quiet routine, trust grows. She guides him with confidence. He follows her lead. He shares memories, festivals under the moon, his sister teaching him to dance and both falling into water. Bianca listens, absorbing each detail, every smile. One evening by firelight, his voice changes. I should have seen it earlier, he says low. The way Silas behaved as a child. He manipulated people just to watch them break. His hands clench. Bianca had once trusted Silas completely, unaware of how he manipulated her confidence and used it against her. Memories resurface sharply. His calm voice, his attentive gaze during their early talks. The way she opened up, only to be betrayed later. Her expression shifts, betraying quiet pain. Theo notices, placing a hand on her back in silent comfort. After that night, she begins resting her head on his lap as they speak each evening, drawn to the reassurance of physical closeness. Time moves slowly. She encourages Theo to explore more of the house, observing how he gains confidence with each passing day. His scent evolves, deeper, stronger, more animalistic, a sign that his recovery is progressing. Eventually, he agrees to go outside, but only if she confirms no one else will be around. In wolf form. They walk together through the estate. He becomes steadier, relying less on touch and more on instinct as his senses return. These shared moments feel like a quiet liberation, a fragile promise of normalcy. That evening by the fire, Theo presses his nose into her fur, breathing deeply. His scent surrounds her, warm, complex, grounding. It triggers a sense of calm she hasn't felt in years. For the first time in a long while, she feels safe and still. He speaks then, voice low with sorrow, recalling the winter's treachery, the poisoning, the enduring anger he carries toward her family. They sent their daughter here to heal me, he says, bitter ladder catching. As if that could ever balance what they did. Later, in human form, Bianca channels healing energy into him. Her hands tremble. She knows she's been deceptive, her presence hidden, her touch concealed beneath the guise of care. Would he resent her when he learns the truth? She believes he would never forgive such a betrayal. She should leave. She knows it. But as she gazes at his sleeping face, brushing her fingers along his cheek, she realizes she can't. The weight of this truth settles in her chest, between their quiet talks and silent understanding. Between guiding hands and healing energy, she has fallen for him. Theo opens his eyes to dim shapes and shifting light. He stops breathing. This cannot be real. Hope had been a distant thought since the injury, even as other senses returned. His scent growing stronger each day, especially in wolf form. That alone felt like unexpected grace. But this is different. In the night's shadows, he makes out the tip of his finger and the fading fire casting soft orange light across the room. The darkness isn't absolute, it's natural. A sharp gasp escapes him, his mind reeling at what it might mean. Then another sensation draws his attention, a presence beside him, warm and still. Her scent. He recognizes it instantly, the clean sweetness of spring air like life itself. Stronger now, closer than ever. A soft hum rises in his chest. He turns to the right, his heart halts. Someone lies asleep beside him, but not a wolf. Through blurred vision, he sees long hair spilling over the pillow like gold in firelight. His eyes trace a bare shoulder, skin glowing faintly in the dark. She is astonishing, even through his impaired sight, and something deep inside aches. This must be her, the one who stayed by him hidden in silence. He knows that scent anywhere. She appears young, fragile in human form. Her breathing matches the calm in her scent. She's close enough that his mouth waters. His wolf stirs with urgency, wanting to touch, to claim, to protect. His fingers tremble as he reaches out but stops himself. Though she lies half across his bed, and though he has touched her in other forms, this is different. She hasn't chosen to reveal herself. The desire remains. Overwhelming. The wolf inside howls for connection. Careful not to wake her, he rises from the bed. Despite poor vision, his hearing and scent guide him through the room with precision. Footsteps approach in the hall. Anne is coming. He doesn't want to disturb their guest. He moves quickly to meet her at the door. Anne startles upon seeing him awake but falls silent when he holds a finger to his lips. She leans close, whispering that someone waits at the gate for him. The man speaks quietly, suggesting delay until morning. But Anne tightens her hold on his arm. "That's not possible," she says, her tone urgent. He turns away from the bed, then follows her through the house and out toward the estate's gate. In the dim light, a figure emerges. Though visibility is poor, he can discern its small frame. His senses sharpen as he approaches. The person is female, carrying an odor of anger, fear, and something else, pregnancy. He inhales sharply. She's pregnant. And her voice, when she speaks, is charged with hostility. "Alpha Theo," she says. Her words clipped and tense. "What did you do to my sister?" Bianca stirs slowly from sleep. The warmth around her is familiar. The scent of Theo lingers in the bedding. Her wolf purrs softly. This place feels right. She hasn't felt safe like this in a long time. A quiet hum escapes her lips, then stops abruptly. She realizes she's alone, human and unclothed in his bed. The truth hits in waves, the bare skin against linen, the implications of what happened. Her wolf whines, confused. Theo has never left her unattended before. Why would he now? Her thoughts race with dread. Did he see her shift? Has her deception been discovered? She could explain, unless his knowledge was more than she thought. He doesn't know Bianca Winters. He can't recognize her face. But if he learns the truth, everything collapses, trust is gone. He would reject her, perhaps even end their agreement with her father. Still, that seems distant compared to the image of Theo looking at her with betrayal. She feels herself shifting, instinctively into wolf form. Panic mounts. Where is he? What did he see? She leaves the room and moves toward the sound of voices below. Anne blocks her path. "Not now," she says, smiling. "The Alpha will see you later." He brought someone back. Anne continues. "His fiancée, Miss Olivia. They've been engaged for 2 years. It's time to finalize their bond." Bianca freezes. "Fiancée? That can't be right. Theo is her mate." She rushes forward, ignoring the warning. In the living room, she sees him seated with Paige and a woman, red hair, blue eyes. A surge of instinct rises in her chest. She snarls. They turn toward her, speech ceasing. "Who is this?" the woman asks. "You're not welcome," Bianca growls. This man belongs to her. She lunges forward, but strong arms restrain her, pulling her back against a solid body. "Paige," Theo says calmly. Theodore drew Bianca into his arms, his presence calming the tension in her. "Stay still," he said quietly as she settled against him. He turned to Paige and their visitor. "Leave us." "No, Alpha," Paige began. But Theodore cut her off. "I said leave." His tone left no room for debate. "This is private." Once they were gone, he set Bianca gently on the floor and knelt beside her. She remained still, caught between instinct and emotion, torn between needing him and fearing what she might say. A hand reached out, slow and steady. "They're gone," he said. "Just us now." She relaxed slightly. His gaze held hers with warmth, but also something deeper, curiosity, recognition. She leaned into his touch as he stroked her fur, a familiar motion that melted the tension in her body. "I won't leave you again," he promised softly. "I swear it." Her breath caught when she realized what had happened. "You're Bianca Winters, aren't you?" he asked. She flinched but didn't move away. His hand stayed on her fur, gentle and firm. "Were you afraid of my reaction?" He sounded calm. "You don't need to look at me," he said finally, voice soft. "But please." She lifted her eyes. The moment their gazes met, she felt frozen. He looked at her as if seeing something rare and precious, something long lost. Then, quietly, "You healed me," his voice cracked. "I wondered why you stayed. You could have left, but you didn't. I thought you were hiding, but you were healing me." His words struck deep. She had stayed not just out of duty but because she couldn't bear to be apart from him. He cradled her face, tears welling in his eyes. "Hi," he whispered. Bianca felt a shift, her skin tingled, and suddenly she was human again. Fear rose, but his hands were steady on her arms, gentle as if afraid of breaking her. "I wanted to tell you," she said. "I didn't want to stay in wolf form, but I knew you were afraid." He frowned. "Afraid? Yes," she admitted. "But not of you. Of being hurt again." Memories of Silas flashed, betrayal, deception. She hadn't wanted to trust blindly. "Your sister told me what happened," he said gently. Her eyes met his. He seemed alive now, seeing clearly for the first time in years. "Kate was here," she asked. "She's looking for you." "I promised her I'd bring you back soon," he replied. Bianca nodded, relief washing over her. She could finally explain everything without fear of punishment. But then, hesitantly, "Please don't mate with that woman." Tears came easily now. The joy she felt was undercut by dread. What if he didn't want her? What if he chose someone else when he belonged to her? "You're my mate," she said, pressing his hand against her chest over her heart. "You belong with me." He blinked slowly, lips parting before curving into a soft expression that seemed to carry quiet weight. "I understand," he said quietly, voice low and steady, sending a ripple through her body. "You do," she replied, watching him nod once. "Yes," he answered. "I've already told you. You don't need to fear Olivia. You don't need to fear anything now. I am yours. You are mine." He lifted his hands to cup her face gently, as if afraid of breaking something fragile. When their lips met, it felt like returning to a place she had long forgotten. Afterward, recovery followed no set pattern. Some moments were calm, walking through the grounds with Theo beside her, his presence grounding, his breath near her skin like warmth from a fire. He looked at her with quiet awe, as if surprised by her continued presence in his life. Other times, old instincts surged. When Theo's touch grew intense, his hands moving along her back, drawing her close, she shifted into wolf form instantly. A voice whispered through the fog, "This is not real. He doesn't care." But he didn't push. Instead, he changed with her, his larger shape standing protectively beside hers under the ancient trees. They ran together in silence, free of past pain. Though responsibilities required his attention as Alpha, he ensured Bianca remained included. She sat at council meetings, their fingers brushing beneath the table. During tense moments, he would glance across the room and smile, just for her. Each night began with simple contact, hands clasped, breaths sensing as sleep eluded them. His scent enveloped her, thick and intoxicating. Kisses deepened into something urgent, hands exploring without hesitation. One evening she gasped against his mouth, "Theo, I need more." "Are you certain?" he asked, pressing close, skin burning against hers. She felt his restraint fraying, his fingers tracing her body with care. When they joined, the sensation brought tears, completion beyond memory. That first time led to many others, their intimacy deepening each night. They nearly missed Kate's labor in the heat of passion. Still, Bianca was present when her sister gave birth. She held her hand through the pain, witnessed Ryder cradle his newborn daughter with overwhelming joy. Looking at the infant, she turned and found Theo watching her, eyes full of unspoken promise. "I want one," she said quietly that night. His expression brightened like dawn breaking over dark hills. He claimed her when she confirmed pregnancy, teeth grazing her neck as their child developed within her. She responded in kind, though he had belonged to her since the moment she found him alone in shadows. "I love you," she whispered under a golden sky. Her hand rested on her abdomen where their baby moved. Theo's fingers closed over hers. "I know," he said, his expression calm with certainty once lost. They rebuilt each other, him from abuse, her from deception. Together they forged something new, resilient, real. Healing was not absence of damage but the strength to move forward, not erasure of pain, but willingness to love again.